It's a very common problem with the Microsoft Surface that it keeps powering itself on and you cannot turn it, disable that. You just slightly touch this power button and it'll always turn on. It'll turn on in your bag, it'll overheat, and often it gets damaged. The battery gets damaged, or even the computer overheats and breaks. So one simple fix is I grind down, cut down the power button. I cannot do this very well one-handed because I'm holding the camera, but you get the idea. It'll just come right down and it'll be much smoother and less likely that something hits this and turns it on. The other thing I do is when I log in, I guess I can use the face at this point. When I log in, I go to Power Settings, Power and Battery, and the most important thing for me, on battery, turn the screen off in 1 minute and make it sleep in 1 minute. So if something hits the power button and it turns on, it gets out of hibernation, comes out of sleep, whatever it is, at least it'll go back to sleep after 1 minute. It'll still warm up, it'll still use some battery, but at least it keeps, it doesn't stay on for as long. At least you can prevent major damage to your computer. And I should clarify that I'm not suggesting for you to take an X-Acto knife to your Microsoft laptop, but I'm just saying that's what I did at my own risk. And of course, you probably will break your computer. There'll be plastic parts entering through the ventilation. And anyway, do this at your own risk, at your own will. Better don't do it at all. But I did it, and now I really have to press it to turn it on. It's not enough to just, slide along here to touch it. And actually, I'm curious what's underneath here. Maybe I should take that button off completely, and then I might need a pin to turn it on and off, and I would be very happy with that. But I'm not sure if I'm ready for that at this point. Another thing I did under System Power and Battery options, while I was cutting on that button, the Surface kept turning on and off and on and off and on and off, never rebooting completely, and that can't be very good. So I did change it to, when it's turned on, when pressing the button, do nothing. So that way it just stays on as I was doing that. That's the best option I found for this. And I can't believe that Microsoft still hasn't come up with a fix. As the reason you get a Surface is not the superior performance. For me, it clearly was the form factor, that it's so portable. But because of that power button, it really isn't portable. You can't take it anywhere without risking breaking the computer or running out of battery, and it's just not a reliable computer for traveling. For me, it's a big deal breaker. I would not recommend buying it for anybody who travels, and I would not recommend buying it for anybody who doesn't travel, because you can get better, cheaper computers for that. But if you want to take it traveling, get something where the power button is on the inside, or at least a little recessed. Do not get a Surface when you like to travel, unless you have a huge travel case or a suitcase with the foam cut out just right. But for a normal traveler, I cannot recommend it. Next, I looked around for some soft plastic. I found a broken old cell phone case, and I figured I can cut this to size. And I also found an old watch plastic wrist strap, something flexible, soft, but hard enough it won't squish. So I am planning on cutting that to size and cover this so that the power button is more recessed. This is the result of my little cut experiment. So now I'm going to take a drip of super glue on each end. I don't want to put it in the middle. I don't want to get anything in the power button, but I'm going to put it at the ends and see what happens. Again, not recommended to follow this. I'm just describing what I'm doing. So this is the result. I have like a little lip here, and I can press on the sides. Even here, not much happens. I would have to, once this is completely dry, I would have to grow fingernails and really push in here to turn this on and off. I might have overdone it a little bit, but this has been bothering me for so long, and actually one laptop died on me with this. What I am going to change back on battery power options, pressing the power button will make the PC hibernate. So if it does turn off and the power button gets pressed again, at least it goes back to sleep. Of course, this is going to be really difficult for it to happen. And actually, as another suggestion, what I was planning on doing, you close this, and then I can get one of these clips, just regular kitchen clips. You want to get the right size, and I can put it on top of this, right here, clip it down. This will prevent the lid from opening, which could start up the laptop as well, and it'll prevent me from pressing this. And if I press this right now the way it is, it's just going to press on my rubber seal. So I'm quite confident I won't have any issues with this surface turning on without me intentionally trying to turn it on. So these are just a few suggestions of what I did. Again, do everything what you feel comfortable with, and don't break your surface. But again, my experience is if I didn't do this, I went through one surface that way, which wasn't recoverable. Luckily, it was under warranty. But since then, I've been very careful, but a few times my surface got so hot that I literally couldn't touch it. Good luck. So after all this work, it's quite ugly. It does help, but interestingly, just pressing on the metal on the side triggers the way too sensitive switch. So the whole design, just if you press here on the metal, it sometimes triggers the switch. Like now the laptop is turning on. So make sure to still do the 1 minute shutdown to sleep mode, because it can still turn on in your bag. It's just a poor design, and Microsoft won't fix it. So if you want to travel with it, get a different one. If you don't want to travel with it, get a different one.